Good afternoon, opera friends. It is time for our sip and show of jewelry associated with this week's streamed Met operas. The operas they stream each night on their website. And boy, have they given us some different things this week. So that's amazing. And we only have bracelets this week to show. Sometimes we have scarves and earrings, but just worked out this week that we only have bracelets. So we call it a sip and show. So I am having some Lilac Lemonade, which is not alcoholic. It could be, but it isn't. And of course, everybody wants to ask, is it looking lilac on screen? Because sometimes to me it doesn't translate on screen, it kind of just looks gray. So it is lilac color. We live in an area where they have a lilac festival. Of course we don't have it this year, but we have a tradition of having the lilac lemonade. So you take Crystal Light pink lemonade and you put in enough blue Kool-Aid, which comes either in a little dry packet or in a little bottle of blue liquid. You just put in enough to make the pink turn purple. And then if you wanted it to be a more like alcoholic drink, you would put in some vodka. So that's the purple lemonade. Just in case you want to try something different while we're in this weird era of our lives. So maybe where you are, things are opening up a little bit. You know, they say they are here, but I haven't seen any change really in what we can do. So we're here. We're watching opera, and that's how it goes. Now, let's see. This week began with Werther. That is how you say it in the opera world. It, I guess, comes from the French, Werther. But I always say Werther because I learned it in college. We had to read it for school, The Sorrows of Young Werther. Not Werther, Werther. Whatever, he's an annoying guy, okay? Let's face it, he needs medication. But anyway, the bracelet's beautiful. So we have an inspired by bracelet called The Sorrows of Young Werther. And we have a heart to represent this love that he can never have. It has a hole in the middle of it. So that represents Charlotte and the love that they cannot have because of the circumstances. This is the love letters that she cannot bear to get rid of in her in that Christmas Eve scene. And the tree represents Werther's connection with nature, and he does describe that he would like to be buried under the lime trees. So we have some, in the beads, I chose purplish and bluish colors just to represent his sort of sadness and passion, purple for passion. And we have lots of glass hearts and little glass leaves embedded in there to represent, again, his connection with nature. In the book, you get a lot more sense of his character, I think, than you do in the opera. But the opera does make the story seem so much more beautiful. So that is the Werther bracelet. On Tuesday, we got to see The Tempest. It's a Shakespeare opera. And I had not seen that before. We do not have jewelry for it, but I'm kind of wondering, if anyone wants to answer, whether we should have more Shakespeare jewelry. I just don't know. I don't know what people would connect with strongly enough to make it worthwhile. I don't know. So let me know what you think about Shakespeare. Wednesday, we had Ariadne, and Ariadne sold out on us, so I don't have an actual bracelet here to show you, but I'm going to let you see the chart that shows how the bracelet tells the story within the story, because Ariadne is, of course, an opera within an opera. So let me see what I'm looking at here. Well, this is not fabulous because the words are backwards, which I did not anticipate, but let's just look at some of the charms to highlight it. You know, when they start out, they have the composer of the opera. Here's some music notes, kind of represent all his work. This big swirly bead is his consternation that his opera and the comedy have to be performed at the same time. Comedy and tragedy masks represent the comedy troupe. Then the composer and Zerbinetta share a special moment, and she is, I think, got a mask on in that scene. It's been a while since I've read all that. And Ariadne turns into a goddess, and her crown is the constellation Corona. So crown charm is very important. And after much travail, she ends up with Bacchus, the god of wine. So we have some grapes. And this large heart at the end is their big love duet. So I'm getting supplies in for more Ariadne bracelets. If you want to get all the items that have to do with this week's operas are 19% off. So if you want to take advantage of that sale, go ahead, and I got the supplies coming in, and you know, it'll ship out next week for you. Sorry, we did not expect to run out of Ariadne bracelets, but as you know, the Met just gives us very little notice on what they're going to show the next week, so we don't exactly have time to prepare.
Dude, did you pull up Pagliacci and Cavalleria Rusticana?
No, I didn't, dear. Maybe you could get those for me. So Andrew included the Sunday operas, which were Cavalleria Rusticana and Pagliacci. And because we normally go Monday to Sunday, I forgot. So he's going to get those. We had Peter Grimes last night, and you got till 6:30 today to try that. I have never experienced any Benjamin Britten music, and I was worried that I would not like it. But I actually did enjoy the story. It was just right now, there's not enough hours in the day to watch all the opera you want to. So, I mean, I definitely have that on my list to watch more, you know, properly as the years roll on. I got through about half of it and then kind of skip to the good scenes, because if you're watching these Met operas on the app or on your television, they have what they call featured scenes, which are like the highlights, so you can, you know, click through those and see the big scenes. Let me see if I can help Andrew. Are you having any luck? It's L for laugh clown and T for to reduce fate.
No, of course, it's not
okay.
under
all right, we'll do those after.
Rusticana.
No, it's not under C for Cavalleria Rusticana. Okay.
That would make too much sense.
Tonight, we have Lucia Di Lammermoor, which is going to be an older production starring Joan Sutherland. They called her La Stupenda, and this is one of her signature roles, so it's going to be amazing. If you do nothing else, make sure that you pop it on. You've got till tomorrow at 6:30 to see it. So if you don't have time to get the whole opera in, make sure you catch the Act 1 duet, I would say, and the mad scene at later in the opera. I'm sure those will be marked as featured scenes. So be sure to see La Stupenda. Okay, so the Lucia Di Lammermoor bracelet, I'm just going to give you an idea here. This is it. The story begins at one end here and ends at the other end, which you can see the Celtic cross and dagger, blood droplets. It's not going to end well. Spoilers. So bracelet goes on like that, wrapped around. And when you receive it, you receive a chart like this in the box, which shows you what all the beads indicate on your bracelet. So I have it spread out here. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. The story begins on one end of the bracelet here, where we have Edgardo, Enrico is the green, and this red bead here is the blood feud between the two families. Nobody even knows what the feud is about anymore. Then we have Lucia. She's sort of an opalescent bead representing her name, Lucia, which means light and moonlight, I believe. And
you should know, dear.
well, I know. I didn't want to go into the etymology of the name Lucia, but it does mean light. So this swirly satiny bead represents that her brother Enrico here wants her to get married to Arturo. I'm getting these names mixed up. Arturo is a rich lord, so he is a shiny gold faceted bead. But Lucia doesn't want to, which is this big black I refuse bead. And they go into this story about how Edgardo saved Lucia from a charging bull, and ever since then she's been in love with him. So we have a little heart here. And this black bead, Enrico is furious. There he is again. and only blood can ease his honor because Lucia and Edgardo are in love. So Lucia is coming out with her friend Alicia, and she tells the story of, see this green jealousy heart, of a woman who was killed in a jealous rage, and she's seen this ghost and it bothers her. But eventually Edgardo is there, and this Celtic heart, large Celtic heart, symbolizes their love. They are a true love match between these warring families, and they exchange rings. See these little, these are little wedding rings. They feel they are wed under the eyes of God because they exchange these rings on their own, and they sing a big love duet where they will be united by the sea. Their tears will join in the sea, and they will be united in love because he has to go away. So, you know, stories got to be stories. We move on here. Her brother has hidden all the love letters that Edgardo has sent to her and pretended that he totally forgot about her. So that was mean. As it goes on, because she thinks he's abandoned her, she does marry Arturo. And then, of course, Edgardo shows up. He's revealing their love for each other here, a big crystal red heart, and he stomps on the ring that they exchanged. Lucia wishes only for death. That's a black bead. So, it's not so happy, and things go along. I'm just gonna move ahead a bit. Where is it? She murders Arturo in the wedding chamber. So we have some blood droplets here. She's lost her mind. This is a bead with red and gold crackled over it. So that is her losing her mind. Edgardo is so sorry. Eventually, see, he has a teardrop here. Enrico is sorry. Edgardo wants to have a duel with, Edgardo wants to duel Enrico. I mean, what's with these names? And then he hears that Lucia has died, so this black bead. She had a mad fit and died. So to be united with her in death, this is a Celtic heart bead. He kills himself. So we have a dagger and a Celtic cross here. Oh, yeah, I think you can see that. And blood. And the cross is to indicate that the people there witnessing this do pray for his soul because he so kills himself. Not good. It's not good.
So the mad scene
I need
is
to
going
sip.
to be something to behold with Joan Sutherland. She's going to flip out. And you've seen this live, dear.
Yes, I've seen Lucia live twice. I mean, I haven't seen tons of opera, but it just worked out that I saw Lucia live twice. So that's starting tonight, 6:30, through to tomorrow, 7:30. Then we have the Las Vegas
Wait
Rigoletto.
a minute, you forgot Lucia's Love.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really disorganized today, friends.
That's why you have me here.
That's why I have Andrew. Lucia's
Not
Love.
just another pretty face.
The Inspired By for Lucia Di Lammermoor. I chose colors that represent the Scottish Highlands in that they're sort of misty gray colors. There's some that tint to green, which are the hills, and some that tint to purple, which is the heather on the hills.
And we can say we've seen it.
Yes, we have been to the Highlands. So we have the dagger that she kills Arturo with. We have a Celtic knot charm to represent her eternal love with Edgardo. And a wavy heart to represent the love duet before he goes away over the sea. So that is Lucia's Love. What?
From Act 1.
Duet from Act 1. There's only one love duet in Lucia Di Lammermoor before all heck breaks loose. So the love duet is the love duet.
Yes.
Okay, so Las Vegas Rigoletto. If you haven't seen this, it's worth just popping in to see what it looks like. Peter Bexala, I believe, is the Duke. Zelko Lucic is Rigoletto, and Diana Damaro I don't have it in front of me, but yeah, I think it's Diana Damarau is Gilda. So this Las Vegas setting, I think, works about 60% of the time. When it's in the casino, I think it works really well. Outside of the casino, just not sure it has the same pizzazz. So that is your chance to see it if you've heard people talking about it. Now, if you don't know the story of Rigoletto, there's a warning against parents.
How's the Lilac Lemonade, dear?
It's good, dear.
Is it a cool, refreshing drink?
It is. So, parents who are too protective of their kids will lead their kids to do exactly what they don't want. That's the moral of the story of Rigoletto. And if you're going to hire someone to kill someone, make sure they know what they're doing. Two good lessons. All right.
Lessons for life, dear.
Let's see. I've pinned down the Rigoletto bracelet here so we can see some of the highlights. So we start down here with the Duke. He sings O Questa o Quella, this one or that one. So either the Countess, this pearl, or Gilda, who's a little yellow flower to represent her name, which means golden. Either one will do. So to him, love is freedom. Okay. So, child of the 60s, the Duke, right? And Rigoletto, symbolized by the jester bead, he is a gold round bead to represent his relationship with Gilda, the yellow flower. And the courtiers want to have a plot, and, well, it all leads to this count putting a curse on Rigoletto. So this big black bead is the curse. And Sparafucile is the assassin here who offers his services. And Rigoletto says, like, not now. And he compares his lot, slaying people with words, to Sparafucili's lot, killing people properly. And that's the aria is represented by these comedy tragedy masks. They're getting a lot of play this today because they're also, these masks are also on the upcoming Pagliacci bracelet. Okay, so we go along and lots of things happen. Eventually Gilda gets abducted, and the Duke sings a big aria about how he wants to comfort her tears, and then the courtiers say, well, we have her. And he's like, oh, I'm going to rush off to mighty love. And we all know what that means. So Gilda is devastated. And this is a crackle bead to represent her devastation after being molested by the Duke. I mean, we could say raped, but I mean, she does love him and does carry on about how much she loves him. It's still like forcing her, but I don't know. I think it's ambiguous. We need an opera lawyer. So going along, Sparafucile is hired to kill the Duke, who goes along and he comes to the inn and he's singing La Donna Mobile. Woman is fickle as a feather in the breeze, so that we have a feather charm. And Gilda's like, oh, but I still love him. And this blue heart is her realizing that he says the same thing to all the women. So her heart's kind of broken. But she still loves him. This is the quartet. What's her name? The sister of Sparafucile is like, oh, save the Duke. These little red flowers represent their pleas to save his life. And eventually Sparafucile, instead of killing the Duke, kills Gilda because she dresses in men's clothes, and it's all very confusing. So this red bead is her death. Got some blood droplet there. And Rigoletto comes along and he hears the Duke singing and he knows that his plan to have him killed didn't work. Gilda, he finds her body. She's not quite dead yet. And she says she will pray for him in heaven with her mother. So that's the angel wings there. And he has a lot of grief and realizes that the curse has come true. So there's that curse bead again. I mean, I don't know how fabulous that was in describing the plot of Rigoletto because it is a complicated story. So if you hit operabracelets.com, hit shop, and then our special Live in HD category, you will see the Rigoletto bracelet there, and it has a chart which shows what all the beads stand for. So that would be a better way to look at it. The inspired by for Rigoletto is Gilda's Destiny. So red beads indicating her fate, being stabbed to death, and there's the golden flowers are included on there. We have a heart representing her love for the Duke. Rigoletto, her father, who she loves so dearly, and the dagger representing her sad end. Gilda's Destiny. We actually made that for a Gilda, who was somebody wanted to give a gift and thought we should have a Gilda bracelet, and I was like, well, we should try it out, and people really did like it, so that's good. Okay, so Rigoletto. Then Sunday, we're going to have Nabucco, another Verdi piece. And we don't have a full story for Nabucco yet, but we have Va Pensiero, which is the famous chorus from that opera. So we have Hebrew slaves in Nabucco that are sadly remembering their homeland. And their homeland, Jerusalem, we have a charm. Let's see if it's the right way around here. Okay. Get a good close look at the charm of Jerusalem. And then the words of the song, they talk about angels' wings and golden harps. So we've got both of those represented in the charms. We have some beads with Stars of David on them. And lots of teardrops, because this is a song of sadness. And blue beads as a sacred color to Israel. So that Nabucco, I believe, stars Placido Domingo. And I saw it at the theater, but me and historical Verdi don't always go along so well. So I should probably rewatch it to make, to impress it on my memory. So that's a big Verdi weekend, if that is your favorite thing. Now, I blew it at the beginning and didn't show you the things from last Sunday, so we're going to go back. So, Cavalleria Rusticana and Pagliacci. Cavalleria Rusticana, also known as Don't Drink and Duel, which I would think was an obvious thing, but apparently it wasn't. So, in this opera, it is Easter Sunday. So, what you're going to see here is little white, well, they're sort of iridescent flower beads to represent Easter lilies. This heart here represents the love triangle, and it does have Easter lilies inside it as well. Now, he loves two women, and so it's sort of like a love triangle situation. It's actually a quadrangle, I think, because one of the women loves someone else. And
maybe a quadrilateral there?
And then, well, one of them's pregnant. So, I mean, there's just so much going on in this opera. It's like a one-act opera, like crazy. So, there's a lot of drinking going on because it is a festival day. So, this is a little goblet with grapes. And it ends up in a duel between the two guys. So, this is their dueling fight. They're poor men, so they don't have like swords or guns or anything, but we have daggers and knives. So, really current events.
And the name of the bracelet is?
Teridu's Fate. Inspired by Cavalleria Rusticana. And a lot of red and beads representing both the wine and the blood. So that is an intense one. I'm sorry if I missed that at the beginning. And Pagliacci, a classic. Get it situated. Now, Pagliacci is about Commedia dell'arte players, which is sort of an Italian thing, which you may look up on Wikipedia. And they are clowns, they're called, but they are like stock characters who will go out and represent a story. And they traditionally wore black and white outfits. So that's why we have a lot of black and clear and white beads. with touches of a deep red, because this is seriously not going to end well. There are two lovers, Netta and Silvio, and that is their love, these entwined hearts. The comedy tragedy masks represent the troupe. And the dagger is Pagliacci's solution to the problem of his wife cheating on him. It's not a good way to go, friends. So that is the Laugh Clown bracelet, which is the translation for Veste Legubia, which is the big aria.
Which everybody knows.
Right. So, Laugh Clown. All right, so we did the week in progress. And we can have a quick chat about what we've got coming up next week. Take a sip.
2 more classics.
Monday night, we've got Mozart's Idomeneo. It's...
And we got all the big...
let's talk about...
big composers next week.
Right. Mozart Idomeneo is about the King of Crete. We've got Nadine Sierra, Elza van de Hever, Alice Coote, and Matthew Polenzani. So that's from 2017. You may have seen it at the theater, but lovely production. If you love Mozart, that's the one you want next week. Oh, it looks like there's 2 Mozarts next week.
Yes, there is.
Tuesday, Wagner's Lohengrin. Classic telecast from 1986. So I've never seen Lohengrin. It just seems like nobody is performing Lohengrin anywhere, except for maybe the Rat Lohengrin, which I've seen a little bit of on YouTube. But to just sit down and watch Lohengrin, I never had that opportunity, so that's great. It's starring Eva Martone, Leonie Resnack, Peter Hoffman, Leif Rohr, John McCurdy. So, again, 1986 is going back a ways. Wednesday, Verdi's Umballa in Maschera, Sandra Ravinovsky, Kathleen Kim, Stephanie Blythe, Marcello Alvarez, and Dmitry Vorostovsky. I saw this one at the theater. It was great. So, I would make a date in your calendar for that one. That'll be good. And Umballa and Maschera, another one that isn't performed like all the time. So it's a great opportunity to catch something new. I just suddenly, every time I think I've seen all the operas, right? They find like a bunch that I haven't seen. But I have seen that one and I recommend it.
So do you have is the Lohengrin bracelet available or not?
Yes, Lohengrin bracelet is getting a little redesign and will be available next week. So Lohengrin. And famous song from Lohengrin is, of course, the Wedding March. The one that we all know as Here Comes the Bride. Mm-hmm. Only those aren't the real words. So
we have Lohengrin. we do not have anything for Idomeneo or Umballa and Maschera yet.
No. We have Lohengrin.
But we have the next one, finally.
Thursday, Turandot. Finally. That's my favorite, and it's taken them forever to get around to it. And I'm not even sure if I saw this version. I feel like I must have seen them all,
it's only 6 months old.
Yeah, and I'm just not remembering getting there. Because I feel like I haven't seen Christine Goerke as Turandot, but it'll be great. Turandot. Yusuf Ivanov is Kalaf. So it'll be amazing. The Met Turandot is so opulent and just so explosive. It's got a game show in the middle. What's not to love about Turandot? Other than poor slave girls getting murdered, and guys getting their heads cut off. But other than that, it's great, happy ending kind of story. So we do have bracelets for Turandot and earrings and scarves. So that'll be good for next week. Friday, we get Don Giovanni, The Viewer's Choice. It is from 1978, starring Joan Sutherland again, and James Morris as Don Giovanni. So how fabulous is that going to be? I can't wait. So that is Friday. That's your Friday night plans, friends. What's here?
Don't forget Gabrielle.
Gabrielle Bacquier. I don't know who that is. Again, we're going 78. I mean, I was 10 years old.
Give me away your age, dear.
Okay. Next Saturday, it's Gounod's Faust. And it is the most recent radioactive zombie picnic Faust. So, I mean, it's a fabulous cast, but the production, I don't know what's going on in it. So, Marina Poplavskaya, I have a hard time with her name, but she is amazing, and she does not sing anymore, so it'd be good to see her. Jonas Kaufman is Faust, and Renee Papa is Mephistopheles. Says Russell Brown, he must be Valentine. So
2011.
Or, yeah, the movie Valentine. So, yeah, 2011. So, I mean, you don't see Faust too often.
And we have Faust.
We have no longer Faust. Well, we might have one in clearance. We'll have to see. But we do have Don Giovanni bracelets and earrings, so that'll be good. And then next Sunday, Manon from 2012 with Anna Netrebko and Peter Bexala. So that is a Massenet Manon, very passionate work, as opposed to the Manon Lescaut. That's different. Different but the same. Okay, so that's throwing a lot of opera at you. I don't expect you to, there won't be a test. No one's going to, need you to remember. So just go to the Met Opera website, and they will give you the list of everything that's going to be on next week. You can hit our operabracelets.com, click shop. You'll see special live in HD category. So it'll represent all the operas that we have jewelry for that the Met is streaming this week.
We have the Jewel Song bracelet for Faust.
Okay, something to look forward to. So, what I was going to say was that all these pieces we've shown are 19% off, and then Monday morning, we remove all of these from the category and put in jewelry and scarves that represent the operas will be streamed in the next week. So the next Monday through Sunday. So, if you see anything you like or you were touched by any of these operas that you've gotten to see this week, then that is your opportunity to get 19% off of them. A portion of all our total sales will go to the Met. And I think that's about all of our business we can conclude today.
Thank you for everybody who bought from us recently.
Thank you to everyone who's been supporting us. Thank you to the Met for giving us so much opera to sort of ease our anxiety in these strange days.
And don't forget, other than the Met, we also have opera on video. We should mention
Yes,
our friend.
if you're like,
If you
I've
want
seen
opera
all
right
these.
now.
If you're like one of these people who've been to every live in HD and you're like, well, I've seen all these, then I suggest Opera on Video. They have a large archive of opera things you can explore. And you can search by singer, by opera, by aria. I mean, if you just want to compare 5 versions of an aria, you can look it up like that. They got a lot of ways you can search things, so it's very interesting. And Opera Vision will give you more modern type productions from Europe.
OperaOnVideo.com.
OperaOnVideo.com. My helper over here. You're ruining my flow
here.
here.
He's our good friend.
Yes, Flamand at Opera on Video is a great guy. So if you have any problems with the website or anything, you just look up Opera on Video on Facebook and pop him a note or email him. He's a very responsive guy. So if you're trying to find something, then you can do that.
Well, lemonade must be awfully good there.
I'm just too much talking. I'm getting dry throat.
You better make me some.
I will. Okay. So I hope everyone will at least catch part of La Stupenda as Lucia Di Lammermoor tonight, okay?
She's on this week, this Friday and next Friday.
Yeah, so she's obviously, she hit the sweet spot on the viewer choice.
She's beaten Pavarotti.
Yeah, I think she is. Okay, I'm surprised there is a version of Lucia with Pavarotti and Joan Sutherland out there. I don't know if it was from the Met, though. Okay, everybody have a great weekend. Appreciate you spending some time with us.